Yeah, what's up, Adeayo? What's
Hey,
good?
my G, what's popping?
Yeah, I'm
You look
good.
good. I like your cap.
You happy? All right. So the week has been crazy.
Yes,
Rema just
so
released the second album and it's
big
popping.
deal,
Yeah.
big deal. Talk of town, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you, how has Rema evolved as an artist?
I mean, Rema is one artist whose evolution has been in the public, like glare, has been in the public eye, and we've watched him grow from being that fresh-faced teenager wearing a teddy bear, making music that appeals to young girls, high school girls,
Spider-Man, Spider-Man,
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Iron Man, why, like just those high school vibes,
Yeah.
to make him do maybe, yeah. So like to show that he can make appropriate because to becoming a young man, coming of age, a young man with the world at his feet. So I mean, as he evolved as an artist, I think he's evolved finally, like steadily, like he's evolved with age, and behind his evolution is the confidence and boldness that drives his career and drives his music. I mean, from the first moment he stepped into the game, like with his WEP, you knew this is a guy that wanted to make a different sound. His music was just different. It didn't it never sounded like anything you've like maybe not heard before, but like out there, like it was bringing something new into the game. And even as it evolved, the sound kept evolving along and his imagery kept evolving along. So I mean, he did the first two EPs, young, fresh face, carrying a teddy bear, the crush for teenagers, a teenage star. Then when he was getting closer to Rave Roses, he was beginning to grow up a bit. The sound was evolving. He was becoming, he was making more music about sex. I want like you. He was making more flamboyant music and becoming. Was he still embracing that experimentation, and we saw that with Raves and Roses. And after Raves and Roses, he just got to a whole new level, even in terms of his imagery. He dumped the teddy bear. He started dressing differently. Then he just all of a sudden started embracing this rock star dark kind of artistry. Even though the bat has always been on his like iconography, it now became the most flat, like the primary, the most conspicuous and the most notable part of his iconography. Before it was the teddy bear, now it was the bat with the dark artistry to go with it. Then even his performance, his stagemanship evolved, started dancing on stage, he became more confident, started dancing on stage. Then when Calm Down happened, just like went all crazy. The confidence was on that level, and he started he started beating his chest more with songs like Oof, saying for my generation I'm the Hove, comparing himself to, like, he's calling himself the Jay-Z of his generation. Then he went on to make Ravage. Then you look at his O2 concert, the way the imagery, the iconography, embracing his unique culture, bringing that rock star, that dark, iconography into his heart. So he's steadily evolved, and as he evolved, the music and the imagery evolved. With every song, with every stage, there's always like an image to go with it. Whether it be the teddy bear, whether it be the flamboyantly dressed, even in terms of his outspokenness. When he was coming up, he started tweeting. His tweets became more bold, crazy. He started calling out people. It just became very, very more entertaining, like more adult like. And I think it's where it is right now. Is more like a 24-year-old man. It's a 24-year-old young man with the world at his feet, and he's just trying to show people that, okay, I'm no longer that 19-year-old guy holding a teddy bear with no pimples singing Iron Man. Now I'm a young man with the world at his feet. I'm going to smoke cigarettes and you're going to see it, and that's what I do now. And it's just really, it's grown in our face. In our faces, it's grown from being the young guy, the young debutant, to becoming one of the biggest artists in Africa, and also a young man that's gone from fine boy to, maybe, as Sarah put it when we're talking, she said, the hottest sugar boy. Yeah, just 24-year-old that appeals to people of all ages, appeals to older women, appeals to, like, that mystique and everything. Yeah, so it's evolved. I think it's evolved finally, both as an artist and as in terms of personality, in terms of music, and also in terms of brand. Yeah.
With this evolution, would you say it prepared listeners for such an album?
Yeah, this is the second album. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't say maybe absolutely, because this album, I mean, towards the beginning of the album, you kind of like know what to expect based off the kind of music he was making. But in terms of just generally preparing listeners for this type of sound, I think, yeah, I think it did show that he loves experimenting, that he's not one to want to pigeonhole himself, or to just want to make popular music while he's a pop star, and while he makes music for mass consumption that everyone should be able to relate to. He's also bold enough to want to try new things, make avant-garde sound, make music that just steps on the toes of things that are outside of the mainstream, embrace different like elements, bring them together and make a sound. So like if you look at Iron Man, for example, when it came out, it was quite different from what people were used to. If you listen to why it was different, the Iron Man, like, what was this Indian kind of music? So he's always been that guy that could do different things, and he had the confidence. That's what is very, very special and unique about Rema. He's a very confident guy. So even with River Roses Deluxe, he released Ove, where he was rapping and he was thumping his chest and it was a bit experimental. And on Ravage EP, there's DND, there's Smooth Criminal calling himself the him, asking that he be placed in the top 4, asking for status upgrade. So yeah, he's made music in the past that suggests that he's want to engage in bold experimentation. So yeah, I think it doesn't come as a shock it shouldn't come as a shock that Rema made this type of album, and it's still, however, it's still like, what's special about Rema is the fact that he still was able to even come out as a bit of a shock that he can be this bold. Okay, like, he's bold, right?
Yeah.
This guy can do things a bit outside of the mainstream, but he still tends to balance it. But you don't even know that, okay, he can be this bold, he can take it to a whole new level and make something entirely like diametrically opposed to what you have in the mainstream. So it's really, really crazy, and I think it's actually interesting that he's this bold and he's able to exhibit the confidence in such a manner, even though it didn't come off.
Talking about confidence, would you say this album is a bold experimentation?
Yes, boldness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When you listen to the sound he was bringing together, borrowing from like punk rock, psychedelic rock, hyper pop, up-tempo music, heavy, like those heavy drums of rock. Have you listened to the album?
No, I've not.
Like, you should. Like the heavy drums of rock music, like really strong drums, fast-paced, breathless delivery. You just give you that heavy metal vibe, right? So it's not really something that is we used to. It's not, I wouldn't say maybe it's entirely new, because it's taken from existing sounds and bringing them together, but it's fusing things in a new way that has not been done before. I think if I'm going to draw a parallel, the last time I saw, or at least the closest I can compare to this in terms of embracing rock music, there are Afro rock artists like Clay Roxo and a couple of other like Imagine and like Nigerian rock artists doing fantastically well and making great music. But in terms of like maybe music that broke into the mainstream, or artists that had mainstream relevance and they were making rock that they embrace rock or broad from rock, I'll say maybe Rooftop MCs, the Minority Report, like that album, like it's crazy. It was very experimental, like way ahead of its time and everything. So it's bold, like absolutely. This is one of the boldest albums that has dropped in say 10 years. If you look back at it, in the last 10 years, the albums that has dropped always they were always reconcilable with the era they were dropped in. If it dropped in 2020 to 2021, it's going to have that lockdown kind of vibe, slow mid-tempo, everyone just put down music. That was when the tempo slowed down, a bit of R&B infusion, Wizkid made in Lagos, Somali's EP, stuff like that. Then if you dropped say between 2022 till date, it's going to have every Amapiano kind of like influences. Before then, it's going to have maybe like a bit of like the Ghana bounce influence, then the pom pom sound, shaku shaku, what have you. So it's music, like albums, they've always carried the dominating sound, like the dominating elements of the era they found themselves, right? But this album, like, it stripped itself of the current dominating elements, which is log drum and piano, stuff like that, and the old Afro swing, the attempt to balance Yankee and jazz sound, right? He kind of like steps away from that and just choose to go in a totally different dimension, which is that up tempo, breathless delivery, aggressive chest stomping, the heavy drums, heavy kicks, like really crazy kind of like dark imagery, that mosh pit kind of music that when you go to a rock band, like you watch maybe a rock band performing on YouTube, you see the way that mosh pit, people are going crazy. So that's the type of music it makes. It's a rave, it calls himself the rave lord. So like it's a rave music. up-tempo music, a music that asks you to, like, you have to react to it. It's like, it makes you react and everything. So it's quite very, very bold, and I think it might be the boldest we've seen in a long time.
So was the experimentation successful? Would you say it was successful?
No, I wouldn't. Sadly, I wouldn't. I don't think it was a successful experimentation. It was bold, I'll give him that, and every marks he gets for boldness, but he doesn't get for effort. I don't think there's enough effort put into this album to make it a successful experimentation. Now, the way I say it, right, and I say this from a place of, should I say heartbreak? A bit of like, I'm hot, my feelings are hot, because I love him. I liked his music, I respected his music, but I actually did come to love him as a person. He's a great guy. He's someone that supports institutions, someone that knows that, okay, that we're building something here and we want it to be bigger than this, and we all have a role to play. He's that type of guy. He's a guy that has his intelligence surpasses his age, right? So I do love him, and let's call this an heartbroken like letter from an arts fan, so to say, right? Yeah. So I don't think Rema put enough effort, enough time, the patience to be able to see through and robustly develop his vision. He's a visionary, and for the vision to be well executed, it needs time. Let's refer to the greatest visionary of the modern era. You already know who it is. No. It's Kanye West.
Oh.
So now Kanye West takes a lot of time to put music together. He spends a lot of time working on a sound, creating a new sound. But we could say Kanye is a producer. He's a super producer. So that gives him an edge. That he understands sounds. He understands how this should come. There's time he was working on a particular, I think it was 808 Mad Breaks, and he was working on a particular sound, and he wasn't getting it. He had to go meet Dr. Dre and say, I want you to, and Dr. Dre did it for him within minutes and everything, what he has been struggling to do for this, right? So what I'm saying is, it needs time. You need to put time, effort, patience to see it through, to robustly develop it. I don't think Rema did that. The album sounds like a one take. The songs on the album, they sound like a one take freestyles. You cannot one take an album into being good. I'm sorry, that's just the way I see it. I don't think you can one take an album and make something quality of that. You cannot one take an album and deliver a resounding quality that sticks. The album, the songs on the album feel like they were recorded off a template, that there's a reference track and you just use that reference track to create the album. Like, they recorded one song that was good, like maybe Match Am first, which I think is a good song. It's a song that should scatter the streets because of that chorus, the repetitiveness of the chorus, like the fact that you're repeating the line, it makes the chorus very good. And that's one thing, that's one way to act Afrobeat chorus. It should be short, they should have a lot of repetition in it, and it should be simple. So like it's like last chorus, it's like City's Boys chorus, it's like Essence, it's like Egu's chorus, it's like Sweat. Any chorus, it's just like the 2-3 syllables, repeating it is banger. Like, you understand, chorus will stick, right? So that chorus sticks, the production really dope, right? So I think maybe he recorded a song like Match Am, which is really good, and he felt like, okay, fine, this is the reference. Then he just repeated. So the same style, so the same technique, so the same approach, and he was saying the same thing essentially. I have money, I'm big now, you guys have to respect me. I deserve to be in top 4, you guys have to acknowledge that. So there was a lot of repetition, there was a lot of, and the way he conveyed it, the way he delivered it, it was very, it was like a rock star kind of way, like rock music kind of way. So it's up tempo, it's breathless, it's aggressive, it's chest thumping, and it's kind of like really, it's a lot to take in, especially when he doesn't apply himself in a way that robustly, execute the vision, where he offers different parts of himself, like say these things in different ways, while retaining the core of the music, which is that up tempo vibe. Like, for example, now take his EP Ravage. Like, he's able to apply himself in a way where he delivers his state of mind, he conveys his state of mind in a very, very elevated manner. In D&D and Smooth Criminal, he's telling you, like, Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson, like that, it's like that's how he opened the song. Like, Smooth Criminal and Michael Jackson, comparing himself to the great MJ, talking about how he's the one, how if you think there's anyone better than him, say who it is. On those songs like Smooth Criminal, D&D, his chest thumping, his showmanship, they were convincing, they were authoritative. You understand? You felt like they were coming off the back of calms down, record-breaking success. So it felt like a victory lap. You understand? It felt like a victory lap. Or on this record, it felt more like, it felt gimmicky. It felt gimmicky, like, okay, you've made your point. Now you're overflogging it. Now it's like you want to be in the top four, but you're not making music to match. You understand? So it's not, it doesn't carry the depth it carried in the first in the EP. It didn't carry it. So this time it's just like As a Man, which has a catchy production, but the way he's conveying it is just really ordinary. You understand? It doesn't elevate himself. It doesn't apply himself it doesn't raise his level. And I think if you want to do something, if you want to experiment in a way that is achieved, that raises the bar, and you want to be the pace setter for a new sonic direction, you have to be able to apply yourself at an elevated level. Now let's look at Amapiano exploration in Afrobeat in the past 3 years. The pace setter is Ashake. Ashake and Magic Stick, those two. How did they apply themselves? Now, Magic Stick applied himself in a way that it raised the level of production. Whatever you were doing, whatever type of piano production that you met in Afrobeat before January 2022, after January 2022, after Obokwe drop, it changed. It changed the violins, the use of drums, everything was different. He elevated himself. He applied himself in an elevated way. Let's talk about Ashake. Before Ashake, people were making our piano. We had K-Star, we had Miyakun did one, and we had a couple of songs, but we had Alilu, great songs, right? Great songs. But the way Ashake came in, the way he blended that his Fuji vibe, mixed it with hip hop, mixed it with pop, make it into a very, very intoxicating cocktail and delivered it. You know that the way the Palazzo, Bojack on easy, no sleep, all in vibrate. Like the way he was rapping, he was just going on it. Yeah, like the way, like if you hear Terminator, Peace Beauty, the way he was applying himself, making sure that okay, while this is a template, while I'm making this music off a particular style I created for myself, I want to hit new levels every time. You understand? I want to hit new levels every time. Every track has to hit a new level. You hear Omokpo, you be like, okay, this is crazy. Then you hear Palazzo, you be like, what? Then he came with Terminator and gave you be like, what? He leaked, he recorded another verse on it. Gave you Organize. You understand? So it's about application, it's about how you apply yourself. And that's why maybe Burna Boy, to me, is the most gifted artist out of this continent. And possibly ever. Maybe the most gifted ever, because the way he applies himself when he's even doing things that are not done before. Like, he's made music that, these are not your ordinary music, but he applies himself in a way that he elevates it, at the same time while conveying it in a very, very convincing and enjoyable way. So listeners, last year, it might not like, it's Afro swing, garage flow, this and that, even sometimes with City Boy, a bit of hip hop here and there, but the way he conveys it, now, like you can say, okay, it's just, the elements he embraces are not as complicated as that which Rema tries to do, yeah, which is true. But it's about the fact that at the end of the day, he ended up creating a sound that is not pop, that is not common in the mainstream. If I say name 2 songs that sound like City Boy and Last, I don't think you find it easy to name songs that sound like that from Nigeria. But they're very successful songs, and they're very enjoyable for every listener because he applies himself in a way. So I don't think Rema applied himself that way. I felt like it was very monotonous. The delivery from A to Z, it was same style. It was same style, but the only times where he choose to switch it up a bit, that's when you enjoy him. In Macham, which is because it's the best creation of that style. You understand? It's the best creation of that style, so you get to enjoy that. Then on a song like Yayo, the chorus like Yayo, Yayo, it's familiar. You know the EPIO, like the line, it's familiar, so that kind of works for you. Then the fact that it's the use of lock drums and his own flows kind of mirrors a bit of Ashake, and the production also mirrors a bit of Magic Stick. So that's it thrives on familiarity. Then a song like HEIS, the song where he samples the Eastern African music, and where he was the second. God, I love that second verse when he was like, "They say Remy no go fall down. They want Remy to fall down." But Baba God no be like where he was a bit, where he was like he cut down on the implosive delivery. Then he just like conveys his thoughts in a more calmer way and tell you what he's thinking, and like why is still flamboyant, why is still swaggering on the beat. Yeah, it makes you enjoy the song. You understand? So then the last song, Now I Know, where he shows a bit of art. He's a bit emotional. He talks about how the haters around, the industry is fake, but he knows these guys. Give shout out to Crayon and co and say, I know these guys, I know who they for me and stuff like that. And he delivers a bit of heartfelt melodies that makes the song maybe the best song on the album for a lot of people, right? So times when he cuts down the breathless, aggressive chest stomping, you get to enjoy a bit of the music. But aside that, it just really does the same thing over and over and over again, and it's just really exhausting. It just sounds really template,
Sorry.
gimmicky. It just sounds like a one take. Sounds like something that was recorded in one day with minimal effort. With no patience to actually execute the vision. To be like, I want to actually do this in a way where, like, I deliver music. I don't freestyle it. I deliver in a solid way where I put my thoughts together. I deliver it in a different way. You understand? So it's that's why for me, I don't think the experimentation comes off, because it doesn't deliver the best music it could have delivered. Is he bold? Yes. Does it shows that Rema is a daring artist that is bold, confident, and has daring creativity? Yes. While at the same time, it also shows that he's he comes across as someone who is not patient enough to sit down and put in the effort to actually create a robust sound. And that's where the album suffers from. That's where the album suffers. That's where I suffer the disconnect. That's where I suffer the disconnect. When from the teasers, I was already feeling, okay, is this going to be everything is going to on the album? Is there not going to be balance? Is there not going to be balance? When I had I was like, this song should be an interlude. 1 hour, 1 minute, 59 seconds. Like, I get the idea. As an interlude, it's perfect. It's you laughing at your detractors, you laughing at your haters, quote unquote haters, telling them like Monday morning talking about me when I'm making money. Like, that's just something. That's badass. That's badass. But you didn't make it into music in the way it elevated your artistry. You just freestyled it, which for an interlude is okay. But if you go on and make like 6 of those type of songs and put them together, I'm sorry, it doesn't make for an elevated project. It doesn't showcase the level of the talent you possess. And that's just the way I see it. That's just the way I see it. And people say, oh, is the purpose of the album is to beat his chest, to show that he is who he is this and that. Yeah, I get it. You could easily just, I mean, if you could easily just tweet that as well, right? Yeah, you don't have to go make the same song over and over again to repeat it to make the point. So, and some people say it's hungry, is hungry had his journey, what he has to go through to become who he is today. I was like, okay, like, I don't know exactly if it's an indie, because if it's an industry thing, like, I don't know who is going to be angry at. You broke into the game at 18, 19, you're a teenage star that people fell in love with you. Some people didn't understand your sound, which is not particularly special, which is not like peculiar. It happens to a lot of people as well. You had success, you had patronage, people supported you, people loved you, you grew in the public space, you became a superstar. Calm down happened, you elevated to global status, people were there, people celebrated it. You're a special talent, and it's that is celebrated. So I'm not sure who the anger is directed at. Is he at the audience for not, like, I feel maybe it's like, if he believes it's due that he should be recognized in the top four, that is due that he should be placed next to Wizkid, Davido, Burna Boy. That is due. That's on his state of mind, and he feels he has a point to prove. And then he goes out of his way to make a music that signifies his ability and conveys how talented he is and why he should be there. He makes the music because it's what informs a big moment, and he needs that moment to be able to show Nigerians that I desire the top four. And he kept echoing that. Like, so in Ravi EP, when he said it was authoritative, it makes you think, okay, it's crazy, it's going crazy. He wants to be, but he wants to be top four. He wants to be top four. Then on this this make music that shows the depth of the artistry just because they can make music off a whim, just because you can freestyle on it and the freestyle seems good, but you cannot freestyle an album. That's it. That's what happened to One Day Coast, Legend or No Legend. The album sounds like a freestyle. It sounds like Baba was trying to freestyle the entire album. And Baba, you are the blueprint. Everything what you do today now, you we learn it from you. But Baba, it doesn't look like you're going to sit down and make an album and actually record songs, make an album, put in the work, have like 60, 70 songs, then pick the best out of them. It doesn't look like the album doesn't look like it went through such a process. It looked like it was one take. And that's how this album comes up. It looks like it's one take, and that's what the issue with people who can make music off a whim. Someone like Naira Marley, look at his album. It was a bad album. His debut album, God's Time is the Best. It was a bad album because he can make music off. Because he's that kind of guy. He comes across as that type of guy that can make music off a whim. You know, he can give you 5 tracks in 4 hours. Just to give you. Yeah, you understand? So like same thing with Charlie Poppy, Shakes Poppy. It looks like music made off a whim. And I think that's how you're making music now. Off a whim. I just want to take it. I did it to one take. I want to take God. One take it. So I don't think it. I think for someone making the average song, someone making what is out there in public, relying on the familiar. Yeah, maybe you can want to take your verses and want to take your melodies and blah blah and record it and put that. But if you're experimenting, if you're trying to do something that haven't been done before, I think you deserve, or at least you need to do more than just a one take. You need to actually sit down and put it together rightly. You need to get, like, your producers are going to create the sound for you that you want, but you need to be able to get them together and say, okay, let's create something that shows depth. Okay, I want to show off. I want to show that I'm him now. I want to be part of the top 4. I want to be recognized for who I am, for what I've achieved. Right? I want music that conveys that, but I don't have to make songs that sound alike, that all the songs sound alike, and everything I'm doing, I'm seeing the same way, approaching it the same way, repeating myself, stuff like that. You understand? Right? It's just like, while he domesticated his approach in terms of the use of language, the use of pidgin, and he was even on a song like, was it As a Man, when he was doing Oziba. Wait, was it Oziba? Oziba, yeah, Oziba. That had the Oziba was like a strong beat. I think that has potential to become a hit as well. That DJ Waiki, I think that have a kind of DJ Waiki kind of beat. Like, he was doing the Italawa and stuff like that. It shows that, okay, he has his ears on the ground. He knows maybe the slangs and stuff like that, right? But the way you say it, right, it just comes off like you're not trying hard to actually put this song together in an elevated way. It's just one taking. You just rhyming whatever you want, just sing whatever you want, and it just doesn't convey the depth of your artistry. It doesn't convey the depth of your artistry, and you cannot. And I think maybe that's an issue for him, because he's someone that can. He's always been that guy that can want to take his song, that can freestyle his song. He has a lot of freestyles, a lot of brilliant freestyles, very, very brilliant freestyles. Maybe one of the best we've seen so far in terms of dropping freestyles in the Nigerian music industry. One of the best. So maybe he approaches this album with such a mindset. And people who have approached this album with such mindset, they hardly drop good, they hardly put together good projects, right? And aside that him being a one take king and being able to freestyle, like drop a song off, make a song off of him, he's also confidence. He's a very confident guy. And I think, and I say this out of love for him, and with all due respect to him as well, I feel like he kind of lost the line between confidence and overconfidence. I'm not in his shoes. I cannot do what he does, right? I cannot make the type of music he's making, right? But I'm saying this from someone, from a critic who consumes the music, who sits down, analyzes it, like goes back, digests it, and try to see, like, imagine why it sounds like this or why he chooses to make it like this, right? And I think the line is blurry a bit. Like he makes the music like, this is what I think would make you people respect me. This is what I think would make you people understand I can do something others cannot do. And styling it and making it off a whim is one of the best way to convey that confidence, to convey that ability. So it come off as like there's a bit of, I think there's a bit of like it's confidence to the point where he doesn't go back and try to like develop it robustly, ground himself, make songs that would like takes time on songs, and just do more than the ordinary one take freestyle on the track, right? So I think there's that part. I think that there's a bit of overconfidence in it, and while overconfidence is not a bad thing, it's not a bad thing because every artist needs a bit of narcissism to create. You need to be able to believe in yourself that you're better than everybody, to actually be better than everybody, right? And if he didn't have that, he wouldn't be where he is today. So it's a good thing, but I think he just needs to be able to check it when he's creating. When you're making music, when you're actually creating art, you need to be able to check it so you can actually be your own first. You can be the first person to scrutinize yourself. You understand? To scrutinize yourself and be like, okay, do I think this is good enough? Like our artists like MI, Burna Boy, Kanye, they're very self-critical. They make albums and scrap them and start again. You understand? They make songs that you be like, this is so good. You be like, no, I want it. So it's artists like that, like Burna, MI, Kanye. You have to be self-critical, especially when you know you have huge confidence in yourself. With such level of confidence, with that strong self-belief that I'm better than everybody, you have to actually want to put in the effort to actually be better than everybody. I don't know if you get me. Like, you do not, like, being better than everybody cannot be displayed in just one takes. There are people who can do it. Lil Wayne can do it. He stopped writing in white. Burna Boy can do it, and it will come off. He has been doing it because he is Burna Boy. He is better than everybody. He can write the verses off his head, and because he's been writing verses all his life, he's been grounded. His body, his soul, his mind is grounded in that shit. That's who he is. Wake him in the middle of the night, he's going to give you a verse that will make you think that he spent days writing it, right? Because it's always in his head. But at the same time, it comes across to me. I've never seen him make music. I've never spoken to anyone who's seen him make music, but I'm guessing, right, that the way he makes music, it comes across to me as someone who, if he takes this and he feels that I don't think it's good enough, he's going to go back and make it to the level he thinks would be very, very good. You understand? It just happens that his one take are so elevated, but he's going to go back and make it to a level he thinks it should be. So you have to actually be willing to push yourself to that level. And I think that's what's missing with Rema. There's a bit of patience, a bit of effort, a bit of the temperament to actually want to ground yourself and be like, and you're good. I can, like, what other people can do in 3 days, in 5 days. It can take you 20 minutes. But even at that, you should be willing to take longer than that effort. I think I don't want to make it like he's not trying, because I mean, he's a superstar, always on the road, possibly limited time to actually record, time to sit down and put this thing together. But you're a visionary. It is the price to pay for being a visionary. Yeah, so I think his huge talent and his super confidence, there are two things that I think are standing in his way of seeing that I'm not putting together an album that actually reflects the level of talent I have, right? And there's still time on his side though. It's 24, right? These are things that maybe, hopefully, he might realize. Like I say this from a place of love, and I don't want. He's that guy. He's our star, right? You don't want to be that guy that's so talented that ends up that couldn't put together a solidly convincing body of work. Making an album that is futuristic is one thing. Like this album, for example, it will be reference points for maybe for himself when he perfects it in the future sound, or for generations coming after him and say like, oh, this person make like a bit of rock music and Afrobeat and up-tempo, and his imagery was so rock star and inspired me. Yes, yes, but in terms of how your work will stand the test of time, in terms of the type of music you're making to show what you can do, I don't think he's giving his best yet. I don't think we've seen his best yet.
So finally, do you think he's capable of making a good album?
Yes, if he actually can ground himself to do it. If he can ground himself to it, if he choose not to one take it, one take some part of it, ground the rest. The songs, I'm serious, like seriously, the songs that sounds like they are good on the album, they sounded like stuff that took a bit of time to make compared to the rest. I'm just saying from what I think. You understand? So I think he needs to just like ground himself, ground himself, like dive in, spend some time developing the sound, trying different dimension to the sound. I don't know if you understand. Like Kanye West, My Dark Beautiful Twisted Fantasy, is one of his greatest albums of all time because of how grounded it is in his experimentation. Understand? And the fact that he now choose to, and even Jesus, this album, he elevated it, he added artistic depth such that there's a template. This is what I want, this is a vision I want to execute. Let me execute. Has shown it. And I think if Rema is going to make a good album, he needs to be able to apply himself in such a way that shows depth and not just one take things and just use a template and just go in and just do the same thing, do the same thing, do the same thing. You understand? So that's it. Can he make a good album? I think he has the talent to make a good album. He's super talented. He's a visionary. It takes visionary to make music like this, to make music that steps out of the mainstream. You understand? And it's bold because you want to be top 4. The reason why you are confidently making a move for the top 4 is because calm down happened. And now you're making music that is entirely different from what calm down is, and even possibly would not get calm down success. It's bold. Even though to an extent I don't get it because you're a pop star and pop star need it, but it's bold. I'll give you that. You're a visionary. You're a visionary, and he's 24 years old. It's crazy what is the kind of confidence he's exhibiting at this young age. It's crazy, really, really crazy, right? So that's why there's still age on his side, on his side. There's still time on his side, but he needs to go. He needs to ground himself again. And I say this with love and with maximum respect to him and to the talent he carries. He needs to ground himself and be willing to apply himself in a way that actually shows the depth of his talent. Here he has shown boldness. He has shown that he's a visionary. He has shown that he can actually make it sound like no one else has. But it doesn't show the depth of his talent. It just shows that you could have as well just make it into an EP. You could have just put Macham is Yayu. Now I know, possibly Ozeba, and it would have been another raving EP. Rage music. But as an album, as a body of work to convey a concept, it lacks depth. So it lacks depth. It lacks artistic depth, and it doesn't do justice to who he is. It doesn't do justice to the artist who is able to convey his thought process in more elevated manner. Right? I'm not in his head, but from a consumer perspective, from a critic perspective, I don't think this album is conveys or actually holds which reaches the level of what achieved experimentation should be. You understand, right? And that's why it's sad. But can he make a good album? Yes, he can make a good album if he chooses to apply himself, if he chooses to ground himself, right? So bottom line for me is that, and as I said in the review I wrote, Rema is a visionary. You are a visionary. Rema is a visionary. Burna Boy is a visionary. Kanye is a visionary. Right? Visionary. When you're a visionary, you have to be able to apply yourself. You have to be able to dig in, push yourself to the limits. Understand? To give a robust representation of your talent, and not just a simplistic representation like we've seen here. Is it bold? Yes. Is it confidence? Yes. But it's not artistic. It doesn't carry enough artistic depth. And it gets marked for boldness, but it doesn't get marks for effort and for artistic depth. And if he's a visionary, he needs to embrace that role. He is a visionary, he needs to accept that he's a visionary and needs to raise his standard to meet that of a visionary by putting in the work, grounding himself to actually make music that hits the level he should. He's 24, there's stage on his side, and there's an excess of talent on his side, on his side as well. So if he wants to make a good album, I think he can. And sooner or later, I hope to get that album. Yeah, that's factions.